Hi, it's Scott Guitarist Angle, and you're watching and listening to Guitar Tales with my longtime friend, Dave Cohen. Take it away, Dave.
Longtime friend, we just met like a week ago. Anyway, no, that's my wonderful friend of, I think, 40 plus years, Scott Guitarist Angle. Here we are. I think this is our third show on our new platform with Restream at Noise Network Studios. We are so happy to be here on Guitar Tales, and we have a super special guest this week, Chris D'Amico, and we have so much fun stuff to talk about. And one of the last things I said before we went on the air is Scott, Chris, and I were chatting is, let's stop chatting and get it on the air because Chris is chock full of stories after a very long career that he's still in the middle of in the music business. So, Chris, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. How you guys? Yeah, that's what people do, I think. They say that there are great friends. He's my dear friend. He has no idea who the hell he is.
I don't even know this guy. I mean, he just begged me to do some show, and he recorded a bumper, and I don't know. And he claims to know you also.
That's what a bumper is, in case people were wondering what a bumper was.
I know.
More than just for cars.
That's right. That's right. So, this is a setup, but I know that there is a story you have about music and equipment terminology, I think from your 20s. And it has to do with our giants who are doing wonderfully right now.
Yes. I learned what a backline was the hard way. When I was in my 20s, I had an original band called Mr. Blue, and we were asked to do the Princeton ski show at Giant Stadium, and I called to advance the gig with DHA, and they said that 105.5 DHA, and they said, hey, we have the complete backline, just bring your instruments and stuff. And I went, gotcha. And I hung up the phone, and I went down to rehearsal that night, and I said to everybody in the band, okay, all we have to do is bring the backline. And the drummer goes, backline? I went, backline. And he turns to the guitar player and he goes, backline? And he goes, yeah, the backline. And we all just stood there like, until finally somebody goes, what's the backline? And everybody goes, I don't know what the backline.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And I had to call up DHA with like pretty much, your
tail between your legs.
Tail between my legs.
Yeah. So I will admit my ignorance. There's what I don't know can fill a book on any topic. What the hell is a backline?
A backline is all the amps and speaker system. Essentially the PA system. The drum kit will be there except for like the cymbals.
Okay.
The amps will all be there. The PA system, all you got to do is just bring your Axis, and the rest of it is there. And I never forgot it ever since.
Oh, that's great. I'm Scott's a pharmacist by day. I'm a lawyer by day. And I did something really mean when I was in law school. The very first exam our entire class took, I forgot what the topic was, and you have to do something called issue spot. And it doesn't matter what your answer is so much as you found an issue and you talked about it. So right after all these nervous kids got out, I said, well, you all answered the backline question. It was all over the fact pattern, right? You guys found that, right? And I must have given 10 or 15 people heart attacks because I literally made up a legal term that didn't exist. And it was kind of fun.
Well, you do that all the time, no matter whatever it is. I used to tell people when I used to work for my father, my father is a contractor. When I used to work for him, I used to tell people to go into the truck and get a left-handed hammer.
Left-handed smoke shifter, remember that?
A bot hole for the bot hole pin.
Right.
It's the Framel. Framel was a good one.
I don't know I knew I was a Boy Scout. We had the left-handed smoke shifter, and they would send kids into the woods for the campsite. You got to go pick up the left-handed smoke shifter. And there was one other one. I forgot what it was, but it was similar to that. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, man. You take advantage. We used to tell the guys when I used to work in a restaurant, we used to tell them that the owner wanted all the clams from the dishwasher. So he wanted all the clams from the dinners that night. So you have to wash out the clam shells and make sure that the
owner. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, live long enough, you do enough fun stuff like that. So.
Oh my God, there's so much good stuff. So this is we did an unwitting segue here because I was thinking you're probably pushing like 85, 90 right now, I would guess.
In actual miles, yes.
Okay. So you're in your 20s, you're in a band, you're playing at Giant Stadium. So let's go really far back in time. I know you're a piano player. First of all, prove it to us. All righty. And I know you play other instruments too. But when did you first become a musician? Let's talk about that. The circumstances where that happened.
Okay. I'm an anomaly. I knew what I wanted to be when I was 5 years old.
Really?
Yeah, I knew I wanted to be at least a singer because I was always a singer.
Okay.
I love to sing. So, I was doing competitions and stuff from when I was 5 and stuff like that. And what sold me completely was my father brought home The Stranger by Billy Joel.
What a great! I own that album. That's a great album.
In '77, he brought it home, and from the first track to the last, I was hooked. And that's when I started picking up the piano and started doing stuff like that. And from then on in, it's been a passion of mine.
I bet you can't play anything from that album. I bet you.
Yeah. Let's see. What do I have? Don't go changing to try and please me. Never let me down before. Don't imagine too familiar. I don't see you anymore. I would not leave you in times of trouble. Never could have come this far. I took the good times. I'll take the bad times. I'll take you just the way you are.
Dude, not only was that fantastic. A couple of comments. First of all, that you so quickly got precisely the right sound out of your keyboard. Like that was impressive. The singing was fabulous. But here's my favorite part. We had Lisa Sherman on the show. You saw it. Yeah, that was great. That was one of our last shows we did in the studio together. And she got transported when she sang it, and I took note of that, and I commented, and she said, "Yeah, I did," and as did Frankie, her husband. When you were singing that, what I like, and it's a criticism I made on this show, I'm a huge Sheryl Crow fan. When she sings First Cut is the Deepest, I don't think she's feeling the lyrics at all. I think she's just trying to sound good,
right.
And she does. When you sang those lyrics, I think were very much in your head.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love to perform. That's what I love to do. And I talk to people about it all the time because, maybe we're going to get into it in a little bit, but,
Sure.
I do the weddings and I do stuff like that. And I'm known in the wedding industry as well as the club and bar industry. There's my bar star years. There's my,
right.
wedding guy years. And we talk about it all the time they say that there's the business of doing the business.
Right.
And the performance part of doing the business.
Right.
Tell everybody, well, the business of doing the business is almost like a performance for me. And performance, I'm all business. You know what I'm saying? And then there's
I love that. Yeah.
And then there's people who just like are in my industry that are salespeople first and then DJ who they do second, my thing is I do the sales portion of the program to perform because I love to perform.
Right. To get the opportunity to perform. Yeah. To do what you love.
And I tell the clients that too. Like when I'm on a phone with a final, I say to them all the time, I'm like, listen, this is the part of the job I hate. What I love to do when I'm coming to your wedding, I'm not coming to work. I'm coming to play. I'm coming to hang.
I love that. Yeah.
And that's really what I burn for. That's the stuff that I love to do. It's not that I like to drive 300 miles to sit down and play for $100 in front of somebody. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'll do it because the vibe is great and my friends are there and we're all singing along and I'm playing. It's not about, yeah, it's great to be making a living doing this, and it's, I'm blessed to be able to say I've been doing it for over 20 years. And, but the thing is,
I'd say your hair's turning gray, but I don't know.
well, yeah, well, this is from talking to
the
all
same
those
thing
brides
going on.
all those years,
Yeah.
And, no, but in all seriousness, it's really what I love to do. I love to perform, and I've been loving it since I'm 5. And I'll continue to love it. I'm not, Helen Hayes said it best: "If you rest, you rust." I don't plan
Oh, I
on.
love that. I don't know that one either. That's great.
Yeah.
So my observation. So I know it was right. When you hear other performers who are sort of phoning it in, can you really tell? I feel like I can, and I could be dead wrong. Can you feel it when they are not thinking about their lyrics?
Sure. And I'm not going to lie. There were nights I phoned it in.
Of course, you're human. Yeah.
There were the nights like when I used to play, like some of the, when I graduated, before I graduated from Dumps to Dives, I used to play in places and I used to look out and it used to be just the bartender and the dishwashers.
Right.
And you just put yourself on automatic pilot, and you're just sitting there and you're like, bottle of red, bottle of white. You're watching the score on the game.
Right.
And you can see the people do that, and there's been nights of that,
That makes sense. Yeah.
But for the most part, like now I'm at the point where, because of the weddings, I'm always in front of at least 150 people.
Yeah. So you can't phone it in.
No.
And you don't want to, because there's energy. That's a joyous event and there's happiness in that room. Hopefully.
Well, I tell people all the time too, it's really not the music that I play. It's how I make them feel.
Right.
Play whatever you want to play. If you look out at a room, the actual job is to take a look at the room that you've got.
Right.
And in that moment, make a moment. Now, when people call me up and say, "Well, what are you going to play at my wedding and stuff?" The actual answer is, "Well, it's part of your requests, which you ask for,
Right.
and part of it is, I'm going to turn those requests into like Spotify off of that list, and then part of it is just me being in the moment and looking at your room at the time."
Right.
Look, if I see, if I'm setting up my speakers and the bridal party's jumping up and down singing a song, like, "Oh, pump it up, got to pump." I got a mental note. I'm like, all right, later on, I'm going to slip that in. It's just, you got to be present and you got to be in the moment. That's what separates you.
Yeah. I always like to compare the music industry to my day job. And when I first meet with a new client and they say to me, "What are the issues in my case?" or the really big question, "What's it worth?" I just say, "We'll find out together." When things develop.
What's your specialty in law, Dave?
Oh, thank you for asking. All I do are resident rights cases for old folks who get abused in long-term care.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I feel wonderful about it. It's the only thing. I've been doing that for about 24 and a half years now.
It's got to be validating when you help people who've been hurt. But just like anything else, when somebody comes and sits in front of you for the first time, you know how to approach them. Some of your clients need to be handheld every step of the way.
Yes.
Some of them are sharp as tacks, and you get it, and you can just skip over a lot of stuff and get to the nitty gritty.
Right.
That's like my rooms on a Friday or Saturday night. On a Friday night, they might be coming from work and dropping their kids off the babysitters and stopping the cleaners to get their outfits. So when they get to the catering facility, I can't be like, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, let's have them." Whoa. I need a few more of these.
Right.
Or I can deal with you, Mr. DJ. I gotta know that room the moment I'm looking at it. But again, if everybody's ready to climb the walls, I can't be like, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the catering facility. You might have noticed I've laid pillows around the tables."
We're going to have a meditation session right now.
Everybody, let's kumbaya.
That's right.
You got to be the right MC. You got to be the right musician. You got to be the right performer for the room you're looking at that moment.
So you have a knack for segues that are organic. So one of the things that's deeper on my crappy handwritten there. Wait, there we go. That's all the whole outline we have for tonight.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I don't. I really like to be organic, but
You don't need no sticky notes.
I don't. Wait, there we go. I don't need no stinking notes. So, and I am going to get rid of that. But I know you're a DJ also.
Yes.
Okay, and one of the things that I would imagine you're better at discussing than probably any guest we've had, and we have a DJ lined up, but we have you first. So I would guess that there are folks in the music world who would thumb their noses at DJs if they're musicians and say, well, what do? You just, in the old days, you'd be spinning a disc. Now you're just, an MP3 or whatever the MP is. I probably got that wrong, but
yeah, well, you're right.
All right, good. That made me nervous for a minute.
We use 3s and 4s around here.
Okay, all right. So first of all, I know from everyone I've spoken to, playing piano is effortless, and that's clearly not an indication of any talent you have. But what about? No, I'm kidding. But in terms of being a musician who will also at times be a DJ, and you kind of launched into that a few times when you were recreating the vibe of whatever venue you might be at. What is the skill set? And you started for us, but what's the skill set you need to not phone it in and do a beautiful job as a DJ?
Well, most of my jobs are weddings. So I'm not the typical, let's go to a club and DJ. Okay. I am a wedding DJ by trade.
Okay.
I also do a hybrid. So it's a mix of both live and DJ. So, really what I'm trying to do with my particular, because everybody's style is different. Everybody does their own thing. I mean, it's
Right.
just, it's the same thing with guitar players or anything. Everybody's style is different. Their tone, their
Right.
this and that. There are DJs out there who can DJ circles around me. They make that board sing in a way that I can't. What does
that mean? What does that mean?
Well,
to the uninitiated, because I don't know anything about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
From a guitar player standpoint, okay?
Yeah.
There's only so far that you can go on your instrument until you need to reach out and find somebody else who's a little bit better.
Okay.
At your instrument, okay?
Right.
The way they play a bar chord, the way they do different things, or the way they hold a fret. Wow, I would have never thought of playing it this way or this way or this way. The inversions and stuff like that. With DJing, the biggest problem with the DJing, I have to say, is it went from you couldn't fake it. Like you can't fake being. Well, I mean, I've seen people who tried, but you can't fake being a guitar player if you want to do it for a living. Okay.
Right.
When I first started, you couldn't fake being a DJ because you had to go out and you had to get all the CD. Back when I started with CDs. Okay. I was still in my bar star career when I first started. Wasn't spinning vinyl.
Okay.
So when I first started spinning it with CDs, but you had to go just like the vinyl and procure all those CDs from all over the place.
Which is not a small thing.
No. And literally it would look like the monolith from 2001 full of CDs.
Right.
That's what you'd have to drag in with you into the place with all the CDs in it. And you'd have to pick the CD out from and mix it and find out. Now the equipment kind of mixes itself.
Okay.
And what happens is the equipment is supposed to be a help if you are professional. It's supposed to help you lift your game as opposed to a crutch.
Are there algorithms in it?
No, but pretty much like everything's in front of. Well, first of all, now, I'm going to pick up a headphone jack, but this is the size of like a thumb drive that goes into the computer, and it has 2 terabytes of songs on it.
Right.
And some of it is pre-mixed already. Like I said, the software that I use makes it easy for people to DJ and sync and not have to really know how to beat mix and pretend. You get some young kid who just goes out to Guitar Center with a Same as Cash credit card, comes back.
Right.
And because he's 20-something years old, he's better at YouTube than I am, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And when do you realize that this guy has no idea how to run a wedding the day of the wedding? Because there's so much detail that goes on into doing a wedding, more than just playing the music. The music, believe it or not, is the easy part of the wedding.
Right.
It's the detail. You're literally a project manager from the moment you hit the catering facility to the moment you say, "Good night, I do christenings." From that point, the beginning to end, there's so much going on. I'm 5 and 6 and 10 and 15 steps ahead. I just had somebody come out with me this past Sunday night who, wanted to learn from me.
Right.
And basically, she said to me, she goes, the beauty of it is they were going to get up no matter what you did because they trusted you right from the beginning.
Okay.
It's more of an attitude that you come at the audience with. You're talking to them, not at them.
And is confidence a big piece of that? Because you're the leader.
It's huge. You got to be able to be confident and comfortable on a microphone. You have to make people feel like, one of the best compliments that I got was actually, believe it or not, earlier this year. I was wrapping up a wedding and I was giving my bride, I'm a hugger, so I gave the bride a big hug, and somebody standing next to us with like a relative or a friend turned to the both of us and said, "Do you know her for a long time?" I said, No, I don't know her very well at all. He says, "Wow, you made this whole entire room feel like we were your family. Like you've known for years." That's really the job. And then once you've got that kind of trust with your audience, then you can have fun and experiment and do things and play songs and try this and try that. But if you go in there, look, somebody once taught me a long time ago, an audience is like dogs. They smell the fear on you.
Right. Yeah.
So, and if they know that they can get away with it, you'll eat you alive. And you got to be able, like it's funny, but Adam Sandler was right in that movie, The Wedding, saying, "I have the microphone, so I have the power." You literally do. And the thing is, of course it was a parody and it overplayed everything for exaggeration effect, but it wasn't really too far removed, because literally from the moment you're on the mic, you're telling everybody in that room, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, we need everybody to kindly take their seats. The staff here at Buster Brown Catering Facility is getting ready to take your orders, and we're just getting ready to line our couple up to bring them in. Once again, we need everybody to kindly find the way." You have to be that type of person on there. And then when you go and you play the music, you're looking for the moments. One of the moments that I love to do, I have a moment at every wedding that's my Piano Man moment. And my Piano Man moment usually happens after cake. They just get done cutting cake. Now, nobody does the garter and bouquet thing anymore. That went out with the hula hoop. So
interesting.
While I have everybody still standing up and watching them cut this cake, I have the bride and groom get in the middle of the room, and I have everybody get around them in a circle. And I go, "I need everybody to help me sing this next song." And, I have the harmonica on and the whole bit, and I have the whole room sing Piano Man to the bride and groom.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And
that really is.
It's a lot of fun, and it happens, but it's organic. I mean, I set the moment up almost at every wedding, but it's set up in a very organic type of way where it's not very forced. I don't force anything. You can't force anything. It's physics. Force equals resistance. You have to.
Well played. Yeah.
You have to, make it as organic as possible. Nothing should be forced, not even jeans over your ass, so you gotta.
you got a lot of good sayings. We've had a few tonight already.
And I
like that.
But it's the truth, because the audience feels if it's forced.
Yeah, they could smell it, like you said, like a dog smells fear.
But it's the truth.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's just years of experience of being in front of crowd. Look, I tell that 80% of my clients, believe it or not, are teachers. I don't know.
Really? Why is that?
No idea. Teachers, nurses, cops, and firemen are who I seem to gravitate towards as my main bride and groom.
Wow, that's interesting.
When I talk to them, I say to the teachers, I say, "Listen, what I do is no different than when you sit in front of your class the first day of school. Before you even open up your mouth, you look at the class and you go, these two need to be separated.
Right.
That's my pet. That's my clown. You in the back, you got to come up." Well, how did you know that? You knew that by sitting in front of classroom after classroom after classroom.
Yeah, and you
I
can
know
read
who
people.
my dancers are. I know who my bar holder uppers are. I know that uncle, once his ass hits a chair, it ain't getting out of that chair.
Really? You can see all that?
Oh, in a second, heartbeat. But that's years and years and years being in front of audiences and knowing what you're looking at. And, sometimes I go in with Mike Tyson said it best, man. Everybody's got a plan. I go in everybody in my weddings with a plan. Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face. I know
Right.
what to do after you get punched in the face.
Right. I've heard him say that quote so many times.
But that's the follow-up to it is I know what to do after you get punched in the face.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So Scott has a topic. We have a secret little cheat sheet you and I could both look at, and Scott's
Yeah.
typing it in. I always give him credit.
Oh,
Did I hear Scott's voice for a second there?
the voice of God?
No. Yeah, that is the voice of God. He's making faces at us off camera.
Is that God?
He's somewhere. I don't know where he is.
No.
So Bridezilla, there's shows about it, and it's a real thing.
It is.
So you must have a lot of Bridezilla stories.
Yeah, yes, I do.
And in the defense of the folks we're about to hear about, it's a stressful day. It's an important day for them. They feel the pressure. There's an audience. They're about to, in theory, commit to someone for quite a while, if not forever. It doesn't always work out that way. Give us some stories and how Bridezilla conduct affects you.
Okay. I want to say that when I first started doing what I do, people partied harder.
Okay.
And people partied harder because they knew less than they do now.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I'm just about to tell you. You go through
All right.
you go through it all the time. I know Scott goes through it all the time. It is called Dr. Google, Lawyer
Yeah.
Google,
Right. Yeah.
Wedding DJ Google. Okay.
Yeah.
So sometimes, when they knew less, because there wasn't a Google, they would just simply call up and go, "What am I supposed to do?" And I would go, "Do this, 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 and this." And they go, "Okay." And they'd show up and they'd have a party and they'd have a great time. But now that you have all of these websites and all of these things telling you, "Don't do this, do this," and the other one says, "No, don't do that, do this."
Right.
And
Right.
it drives a bride crazy.
In other words, they're getting conflicting advice from.
They're drowning in information and starving for wisdom.
Ooh.
That's what's going on, and that's what's the problem is it's an information overload,
Right.
and they don't
Like WebMD.
Yeah, pretty much. And so instead of, and it makes them a nervous wreck. It just brings out all the anxiety.
Right.
Instead of going to somebody like you or me or Scott, who's a pharmacist, and asking a professional who's been doing it for 20 something years or 30 years, hey, you're going to dictate to me how your night's going to go. And I'm going to sit there and I'm going to go, all right, but you're also paying for me to give you my expertise. So
yes,
I have to give you my expertise. And when I give you my expertise and you tell me to promptly go where to go and how to get there,
right.
I can sit there and be like, okay, you know what? But I've gotten bold in my old age. I've told the clients straight out to their faces at this point, if you do it this way, the success or failure of your wedding is on you.
Yes.
If you do it on my way, at least I'll brunt anything that might come up, and I'll bet on me and my experience over you in your 8 months that you've been trying to put this thing together, 8 months to a year, to my 20-something years.
The parallels that you're giving, I know to Scott, who's thinking, I'm not going to take that medication. I want this one, and for me, how long have you practiced law in this exact field that you'll
exactly.
Yeah.
And when they come in and they tell you how the law is supposed to be run,
what
do you need me for? And it's been getting worse. And then the thing that makes it even more worse is websites like Wedding Wire and The Knot and Pinterest, feeding the fire on top of Google.
Right.
And there's the whole review system where somebody can go online and review. Reviews are subjective.
They are. Yeah.
You don't know what I'm doing behind the scenes because you're not supposed to. You paid me to. Now, knock on Formica. I have one of the better reputations in the business. I get phenomenal reviews and stuff like that. But for a while, because I was afraid, I was playing to not get the bad review.
Right. Yeah.
I was playing on defense more than I
Yeah.
was playing on offense, where every one of
Right.
my choices was more calculated than and what they do is they tie my hands. And I had a bride in 2020, believe it or not. She was
Okay.
the only weddings that went off that year.
Right.
She was just miserable from the get. She called me in July, and at that point I hadn't done a wedding in 4 months
Right.
because
Right. Right.
we were shut down. And she called me in July when things were still just starting to open up again and stuff, and we were starting to do events, but under restriction. And she called, and I answered the phone like D'Amico Entertainment. She goes, "You still open?"
This is like her first call to you.
This was the first thing out of her mouth. No, we
Wow.
had her booked for September.
Oh,
And
all right. Yeah.
the first words
Yeah.
out of her mouth are, "You still open?" And I'm like, "Yes, we are. And who am I speaking with?"
Right. Right. Right.
And she said, "Beep," her name. And
What was her name?
and we're still getting married and blah 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 blah. Long story short, she drove every one of her vendors absolutely crazy. I wasn't supposed to do her wedding personally. And I had another MC, one of my other MCs doing her wedding
Right.
personally.
Gotcha.
I was off that night. And I literally showed up and did her ceremony. I did her cocktail hour live. I stayed through introductions, and she still was miserable.
Really?
Yeah, she just attacked my staff. But she doesn't realize that all the vendors, we all talk to each other. She
Right.
attacked the photographer, like verbally attacked the photographer, attacked her florist, attacked her and maitre d', the catering manager. She was just miserable down the line. It doesn't have to be that way,
No, is she still married? From
I have no
2020?
idea. I have no idea. But if there was ever, anything that had to get married in that horrible year, it had to be that horrible person.
Wow.
That was, in fact, in my company, her name is the one that we associate with. And in 25 years of doing this, that was the worst bride I had ever had.
Wow.
And I've had some fun, not bridezilla stories, but some whacked out, tales of, brides getting hot, brides, tying napkins around their leg instead of a garter belt. I've had one day I will write a book when I retire. Because I've got a lot of stuff that, I'm still in the industry, so I still got to be kind of incognito. But some of the things that some of the brides hold very important mean that big in the overall big picture of a day.
I know.
And
Yeah, and I wonder if they are dramatically different in their non-wedding life from that, or if it's just that personality.
No, you were right. You were on. Look, there's a lot of money being spent.
Yeah.
And not only are you getting opinions from Dr. Google and all these
Yeah.
but you're getting your parents in your ear.
Yep. I'm paying all this money I expect to have.
Well, yeah. You got that. And then you've also got, well, why aren't you doing this? Because traditions have changed in the 25 years since you got married. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's doing it. I got people who aren't. Garter and bouquet is gone. That whole, let's throw the bouquet, let's do the garter thing.
All right, they don't do that?
That's almost all gone.
Okay.
A formal cake cut is starting to leave now.
Interesting.
We're not stopping the wedding, and the bride cuts the cake. That's gone. But playing a song and just, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a nice round of applause for our bride feeding our groom. That's leaving. They're opting for a private cake cut now off to the side.
Interesting.
Yeah. Some of the other traditions that have changed. We're not doing first and last names for bridal party, just for parents and the bride and groom. We're just using first names, or we're just going, ladies and gentlemen, your bridal party, and the bridal party all comes in at once.
Right. How does Instagram and all the other new platforms, how do they integrate themselves into weddings? Do you play any role in that, or just the people do it on their own?
again, just like Google, Instagram, and Facebook, and Snapchat, and TikTok,
Right.
make it all stressful for my bride. Look,
Yeah.
just like you, if you want to come and see my pictures for my wedding, you have to come to my house. I have to blow the dust off the album, and I have to show you the album.
Right.
Now, nowadays, the bride don't even have her underwear on, and it's on like Instagram. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
On Facebook, instantly on Instagram. Bride getting dressed. And it's on TikTok. It's an immediate. It's instant gratification. I don't want to say gratification in this case, but it's just an instant out there.
Yeah.
And never has there been more pressure to look great immediately. Because remember, once it's out there forever.
That's true. And not only is there more pressure to look great immediately, but even separate from the world of weddings, there's so much more pressure to look great generally.
Yeah.
Just
no lie. I mean, even this show, you have your graphics, you have your stuff.
Yeah.
We're on these mics, we're on this stuff like that because we want a polished presentation.
Right. And the good news for us is that with faces like these, you and I could carry the show, no matter what the technological issues are.
I got it right now. I got it.
Oh, Scott, that was mean. That's mean too. It's mean to both of us. Just pan backwards.
What I'm getting now, though, I have to say, I'm getting to a point now where a lot of my clients are now like, look, here's a couple of requests. Here's where Instagram has helped.
Okay.
I've created reels of almost every one of my weddings now where they can see, here's what a cocktail hour looks like. And I call it rocktail hour because we have acoustic guitar and a saxophone player.
Cool. Very cool.
We're doing all sorts of fun stuff, like you would hear at a pub. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we're going in and I'm mixing it up from, Runaround Sue to Mr. Brightside to Frank Sinatra to, Welcome to the Black Parade, for crying out loud, So the wedding music is going all over the place and they can see how from A to Z I'm entertaining a crowd right then and there. So now when I get clients, because of Instagram, because of the reels, because they can see what I do throughout the course of a night in a little 5-minute snippet.
More trust.
It's like, okay, you want to hear these songs. Well, and then there's the reviews. The reviews say great. The catering facilities that recommend me say this is, the guy to use. And then the reels that they look at are like, wow. And we're filming them with a cell phone. And people are like, it sounds this good with a cell phone. What's it going to sound, in real life? Yeah. So they're like, here's a handful of requests and you just do you.
Yeah.
And my parties have been going off the chain ever since they've been doing that with me.
That's fantastic. By the way, I have a random request. Can we hear a few bars of Runaround Sue? It's such a great song. He's got that song in my head.
Here's my story. It's sad but true. About a girl that I once knew. She took my love and ran around. Bitch. No, with every single guy in town. Hey, hey. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Should've known from the very start. This girl leaving with a broken heart. Listen, people, what I'm telling you. I keep away from Runaround Sue. She like to travel around. She love it and she puts you down. People love to ask you why. Sue goes out with other guys. It's the moral of the story from the guy who knows. Fell in love and my love still grows. Now asking a fool if she ever knew. I keep away from Runaround Sue. Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Thank you. Thank you. You gave me an itch to hear that song, and I wanted to hear a little Jerry Lee Lewis style piano, and you just threw it in there, which was excellent.
It's fun.
That's a cool tune. That's got to be a 60, 70-year-old tune by now, right?
It is. Yeah, it's about 50, 60 years old. It still goes over. That's the other thing, too. I'm actually starting to watch it now where things are starting to be like, it's getting too old.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting too old to bring in now. And it's, when you do this long enough, the other thing too is like I'm starting to become the bride's parents' age now.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
And which is actually really cool because I'm, old enough to know what they want to hear.
Right.
And I'm still young enough to still keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on out there. So
Right.
I kind of
You know,
got,
No, it is. It's a good place to be. I got a funny one. Earlier this week, I was in a department store buying a couple of shirts, actually buying this shirt, among others. On the PA was joined together by The Who.
Yeah. Oh.
And I thought, oh, I'm old. Like, to hear The Who as like an oldies song in a shopping center, that was a little depressing.
There is a Facebook video live of me out there on my Facebook page somewhere where I'm walking through Costco.
Right.
And they're playing Back in Black.
Oh.
And all I hear is, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. I've heard Fly By Night by Rush in Walmart. And I'm like,
oh, that's so sad. You don't want to hear it there.
No.
It's so bad.
Crazy Train and ShopRite.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all.
I go to an acupuncturist and they have like this Sonos system with like Muzak.
Right.
And they have the Muzak versions of like songs like that.
Oh no!
Like it's got like, of course, with the acupuncture, it's all like the spiritual stuff. She's got this and she just I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. Like just the guitar.
Oh my god!
You're going. I know this. How do I know this? Because it's just so left field out of character.
I know. So I saw Ringo in Atlantic City about 3 weeks ago. The degree of the percentage of geriatrics in the crowd, it wasn't just regular old. It was I couldn't get to my seat because there was a woman with a 4-prong walker in front of me, and it wasn't because of a disability. It was just there were just too many centuries on her limbs. Like probably like 90-ish years old, and it was
favorite is you go to a metal show, like a Bon Jovi or something like that, and 50 plus 60-something-year-old women that used to go see them in the 80s are still are trying to do their hair up and put on the clothes like from back then again.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, there's the sight.
I know.
I got to do my hair.
I know, me too. So I just mentioned to someone recently, I was driving to my 40th high school reunion last week, and the weather was nice. So I rolled down the windows, and out of muscle memory, I closed the windows so it wouldn't mess up my hair. And then I caught myself. I'm just so used to that. If I'm going somewhere and I'm like dressed relatively nicely, in the old days, you would close up your window so you'd still look nice. And I kind of caught myself and laughed at myself by myself.
So I'll give you another one. Be careful, because it's going to happen to you. It happened to me.
Okay.
When you're looking for the street that you have to turn on,
right?
You're going to lower the radio.
Oh, I do it already.
You can see the streets better.
Oh, you absolutely can. Yeah, I could hear. I could see better. I could think better. Yeah, and my kids don't get it. I'll be in the car with them. We got to lower the music, and they don't understand. But our brains are just so full, we can't process music and think at the same time.
Did you ever come home from work one night and then like in the next day go out in the car and the music's this loud?
Yeah. Or
I'm not that same person I was last night.
No. Or when you disconnect your cell phone, if you've got Bluetooth, and the radio, whatever output the radio has is more than your cell phone. If I'm playing music, same thing happens.
And then you do this. What? Did you guys see my cell phone?
Yep. That's right. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Or Scott's pointing out the jerk that he is. So I set up for our show 2 hours early, and then I came back at 6. We started taping at about 6:30, and my laptop was dead, and I couldn't figure out why. I'm jiggering around with the power cord. Oh, it must have been loose, still not turning on. It's because the light switch over there was turned off that controls the plug, which is a post 50-something event to occur.
In there, done that, got the t-shirt and the foam finger.
Yeah.
You want to hear another Billy Joel song?
I do. Scott said he doesn't because he hates the way you play, but I want to hear it.
She's got a way about her. Don't know what it is, but I know that I can't live without her. She's got a way of pleasing. Don't know why it is, but there doesn't have to be a reason anyway. She's got a smile that heals me. Don't know why it is that I have to laugh when she reveals me. She's got a way of talking. Don't know what it is, but it lifts me up when we are walking anywhere. Comes to me when I'm feeling down, inspires me. Without a sound, she touches me, and I get turned around. She's got a way, sure. Oh, and how I make her feel, and I find the strength to keep on going. And she's got a light around her. Oh, and everywhere she goes, a million dreams of love surround her everywhere. She comes to me when I'm feeling down, inspires me. Without a sound, she touches me. I get turned around. Oh, 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 oh. She's got a smile that heals me. Don't know why it is that I have to laugh when she reveals me. And she's got a way about her. Don't know what it is, but I know that I can't live without her anyway. Hey!
Dude, so I could count on one hand the number of times I've gotten goosebumps during this show, and I think you brought me to 5 now. That was fabulous.
Thank
Absolutely fabulous. Yeah, that I'm thinking of the shows right off the top of my head. Nixon's Head did it. Matt and Aaron O'Ree did it. Lisa Sherman did it. And there's probably 1 or 2 others I'm missing, but that's it out of almost 4 years of shows. So thank you. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, Scott's reminding me, and we do have it on my ripped up list here. You have an original tune you just recorded down in Nashville. I don't know if you just did, but you recorded it down in Nashville.
I did it in Nashville right before the world went sideways.
Right. Okay. And
literally
Martina
before the world went literally right before the world went sideways.
Right. So this would have been February or early March of 2000 or so.
Yeah. This is it. All the miles between us, my love will find you. This was the single most amazing experience of my life.
Wow. And I know there's a sad and then a heartwarming and a hopeful backstory to this.
Yeah, about 7 years ago, over 7 years ago now at this point, my son Christopher passed away in a boating accident on Lake Apacon. And this was the song I wrote for him. And this was played for John McBride, who's Martina McBride's husband. He owns Blackbird Studios out in Nashville.
Wow.
And he said, come on out, let's record this. And he set up some of the greatest session guys that I've ever heard in my entire life.
Wow.
One of the guys has played on, if you looked, I'm trying to remember his last name because it escapes me because that's a 50-something-year-old thing too.
Yeah.
But he played on all sorts of sessions for all sorts of musicians. If you look him up, I gotta get you his name. His name's Tommy. But he, people like follow him, like guitar players follow him because he's just a master at his tone and what he does, plays and everything. And he basically ran the session. And they played this live. Like I sent them a little demo of just basically blocking the chord. No matter where you are, my love will find you. All the miles between us, my love will find you. And I sent them a little thing like that.
That's beautiful what you just played. But go on.
And he listened to it. I just gave him a simple block chorded demo.
Yeah.
And he, did a little shorthand. They copied it and they handed it out to all the musicians. And I went in the studio, the vocal booth, to put, like a reference down on it.
Yeah.
And literally what you hear is what I heard back right away. Tom Bukovic.
Oh, wow.
That's who played. This is what I heard through the speakers immediately.
Wow.
It wasn't like, we got to work this. We got to that. I put on the headphones and a finished record came back at me.
Wow.
And I sang it right on top. And then John McBride, you got a guy there that's produced multi-million, copy records and of course for his wife alone and all this other stuff. As a musician, at least, as a musician, there's always some ego involved.
Right.
And you want to feel validated. And eventually, when you do all of these weddings and you do the things that I've done, people come up to you at the end of the night and they're like, "Oh, you're so great." But these are the people that tell them that their cousin sounds great and send them on American Idol. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, somebody was videotaping outside of the vocal booth next to John McBride. And John McBride goes, "Man, this kid's got a voice."
Oh, my God.
And he goes, "Man, this kid could sing the phone book." He goes, "All right." And then on the same video, he goes, "All right, let's do a double," which is literally singing the same thing so you could thicken the vocal.
Okay, right.
And he said, as he's going, he goes, "Damn, he's nailing the double. Perfect." He goes, "The only other person I heard do this like this is my wife." And he's saying this in the studio to the engineer, not knowing he's being captured on video. And when I heard that back,
wow.
Something, I always wanted to be the next Billy Joel.
Yeah.
And you know how that goes. You get so far but look, I'm blessed to be a musician for a living.
Yeah.
I never reached that brass ring that I always wanted to reach, and to hear people who are like in the industry and
at that level, yeah,
give you a compliment. It kind of just makes it feel like you're still, and the thing is, I also now kind of reinventing myself as a professional speaker. Motivational speaker. I've spoken at all the DJ conventions about, since my son passed away.
Yeah, and it's Kindness for Christopher is your organization.
Yeah, we started a movement called Kindness for Christopher, which literally is what it says. We don't want any money. We just want you on the because he died June 24th, 2015. We just want you on the 24th of every month, do one random act of kindness for somebody out there. You hold the door, smile, tell them they look good that day, or buy them their coffee. You can do monetary, but it's not monetary for us. It's monetary for someone else.
That's beautiful.
But from this, this tragedy, I've learned about how to deal with grief, how to talk to people, about how to push forward. Because, we were talking about earlier, how do you not phone it in? Okay, I didn't miss a gig after my son died. My son died on a Wednesday, and I was back gigging Friday and Saturday. And then I was at his funeral Sunday and Monday, and then back to work again because it was 4th of July on that Thursday. And that was the day I learned, other than being a piano player and a singer and an MC, I learned that I was an actor too.
Right. Yeah.
But when I speak about, like, pushing yourself forward. What are, goals, dreams, aspirations. I just turned 52 this year. So my thing is, I'm going to try to reinvent myself as this, but later on this year, we just finished a video. I'm going to go out and try to do a band that does all municipal shows. We're doing yacht rock and corporate rock, and we're calling ourselves Suit and Mai Tai.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So, all the yacht and corporate rock songs, arena rock, as it were, Boston Foreigner, Styx.
Yeah.
Pat Benatar's, and yacht rock, Steely Dan, What a Fool Believes. I got my buddy Ron Ossie in the band. I got this girl, Lauren Gibbs, who's fantastic. Chris O'Hara plays drums. Mike Mano, who's an amazing guitar player, is a beast. And Sean Seymour plays bass. It is probably one of the best musical bands I've ever been in. It is probably one of the best vocal bands I've been in. All of me, Lauren, and Ron are tremendous singers. Usually when you're in a singing band, there's always like Crosby, Stills, and Irving. No, there's not Irving in this band. Everybody in this band can sing, and everybody in this band can play. And it just, I'm just trying to show you that, like, you can still do things in industry, even though you're getting older. I'm playing some of the best music now, and we're probably going to do, like, those shows in the park where you bring your lawn chair and you come and see the band,
which is still beautiful. Well, look, Scott and I created this show together. We were both a little past 50. We were both in our mid-50s, actually. And as long as you have a passion for living, you can still do beautiful things and emote beauty,
Amen. I mean, look, I've seen from the Kindness for Christopher movement, we've just facilitated a page and just told everybody to keep doing a random act of kindness.
Right.
And I've seen what people have done for other people. Just facilitating a page. We're not telling we're not pushing people into doing anything. A 10-year-old boy changed the world.
Right.
And there's people doing kind acts around the world. You have to see from a rock saying kindness for Christopher, do something kind, sitting on the Great Wall of China.
Wow.
Writing "Be Kind" in Hawaii for his name. You know what I mean? Around the world, it turned into a global movement. So, we can do anything we want as long as we just keep focused and keep moving forward. And like Rocky says, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Adrian.
Yeah.
I ain't never been scared before,
I didn't ask you not to be a woman.
Don't ask me not to be a man.
We could talk for hours. I know.
You're a beautiful human being. I'll say it. I really appreciate having you on the show, man.
Thank you. And I appreciate you having me on the show. Thank you very much. You and Scott for suggesting I even come here, because I don't play guitar. I play piano.
We'll bend the rules now and then, especially for a good guy. So fabulous having you. And I want to thank all of our friends at Guitar Tales. Special shout out to not just our publicist, but now our producer and director, Scott Guitarma, who all this cool stuff you see on the screen here, and all of the great promotion and taking the show and putting us on all the different platforms, including audio-only platforms. So if you're on a long drive, you could hear the soft tones of David Cohen's voice and our wonderful guests. Stay tuned for more great shows being broadcast from Noise Network Studios. Have a great night. Signing off now. Hi, this is Dave Cohen, host of Guitar Tales, and
Scott Guitar Mrs. Dangle.
So we put together this show every week for you guys, or at least every other week. We want you to do two things for us, which would be good for everyone. If you could subscribe on our YouTube channel, that would be great.
And share. Please share the videos around with your friends. Let them know Guitar Tales is out there. It's not just about guitar players. We have a lot to offer.
Thank you.
Promotional consideration by Mischief Studios and pending